What is up, guys, and welcome back to another brand new video. Today we're back for another episode of My Team Career Mode. This is episode number 18 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. If you want to see the last episode, you are more than welcome to. The links are always in the description for the most previous episode. However, if you look at the thumbnail, I probably recommend that you don't. Well, the first half of the race was actually okay. Except with old components, you start to doubt whether you get to the end, and I knew that we were going to get to the end in Mexico. So, we can put all that shenanigans behind us, and now we can move on to this weekend, the Brazilian Grand Prix. As you can see, those were the components that we were meant to be taking, next to components 3. But, however, we are going to use the old components for practice because I want to save them for either quali or the race. Probably most likely the race. Probably just so you know we can get through without any issues. So heading into Sao Paulo, what you're about to see in a couple of moments is something that's actually come quite late if you actually think about it, and it might surprise you, but of course it may not with the title. Check this out.
Okay, I need your attention. The tech regulations are changing. There's a risk some of our hard work will be undone, so we need to mitigate it. As soon as you can, I want you to look at the developments we have and tell us what areas you want to invest in protecting.
So there you go. Regulation changes are in Season 1. Okay, so now we're going to go and we're going to see which departments are affected, and apparently it's only the powertrain department that's affected. So we've got 6 weeks to resolve all the parts. A lot of them, actually quite a few of them, were supplier upgrades that got onto the car. So I think we got, 7 of them? So we got 1 left. And we've got like 6 or 8 parts that are affected. So if we don't get those rectified, they're not going to be on the car for Season 2. And we've got three races to do that, so we should be able to rectify them pretty quickly, in all honesty. So all we need to do now is just get through all the practice programs, and we can easily achieve those resource points. Believe it or not, I did Brazil, or this weekend, before my PC literally shut itself. So what actually happened was I was actually unable to turn on the PC. So I got it to my to the tech guy well after Christmas. No, it was actually before the New Year, actually. And yeah, it did take... Okay, that's a nice moment, coming out of... in the second sector. So yeah, it took us a little while to get it back, but apparently it was just a power supplier that needed to get replaced. P7 in practice, pretty good... a pretty good effort. I think we did do a quali run, so... But of course that was on a lower AI difficulty setting, so we're going to up that for qualified, like we always do. And if you guys didn't see what changes were made, I actually set the gear shifting to manual. I wanted to try that on the controller for the last time before I did an upgrade to an actual race wheel, which I will be using in the very next episode. So, practice all done, getting our parts, discount for the parts. I think we got through everything pretty cleanly. I think we had like 1500 resource points or something. So, I think we are good to resolve a few parts here. We're not going to save all of them, but at least we can start saving some of the parts.
I see you've been skipping a lot of practice sessions lately. Keep in mind that practice is useful.
I'm actually going to lose it with Pierre in a second. I don't even know if he realizes that I'm actually saving the engine. Well, at least trying to anyway. So we're going to adapt a lot of the parts now, and I think we're going to save like well over half of them. So we've saved 4. There's still 4. Actually, make it 5 now. We've saved 5. We've got 3 to go. We've got 300 odd resource points. Just having a look around to see if we could do any other upgrade. I don't think we can. So I think the bulk of it is actually done now for Season 2. 1 more to go, and then we can do the next 2 for Australia. So we're going to use the old components for qualifying and see where it would get us. So it's go time now for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. I don't know why people say the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, because everyone's always said the Brazilian Grand Prix. Anyway, let's move on. So I actually had a look back to see if we could still see the smoke in between the spray, and apparently you still can. So we're just going to do laps around here, because we are going to get faster as we progress through the session. So we're going to just do laps, get used to the track and with the wetness on the inters, and we can potentially, try and get us close to Q2. I'd actually be very surprised if we get into Q2, even though they may not be the aim. But as you can see, we are 4 tenths up, or pretty much 5 tenths up already, before we get to the slow stuff in the middle sector. And by we get to the final braking zone, we were literally over 8 tenths, but a bit of a poor exit, and all of a sudden we're already under 7 tenths. So we lost a tenth and a bit coming out of the last turn. Up to the line, does this get us into the 16s? It does. It's a low 16. It's a 16.391, which is actually pretty good. I think that got us 18th or something like that. So, 18th, yeah, it was 18th, okay. So we're going to chuck another set of inters at it. They're brand new ones. We're going to go out and we're going to see how much closer we can get into Q2. So this is our last run. Our first one wasn't actually that good. I think we might have actually gotten held up or something. So we've got a nice gap between us and the Alpha if you look at the mini-map. So we're going to see how much time we can gain on a new set of inters. We are two and a bit tenths up, and we were finding time, but we weren't finding enough time for us to get into Q2. And in the end, it gets us P19, P18? Yeah, P18. However, we were actually pretty close in getting into Q2, less than a tenth between us and George Russell, and just about a tenth to Giovinazzi. So yeah, I did make a few mistakes though on the last lap, so maybe I am sort of kicking myself at it. But at the same time, old components though, does that have a factor to it? Who knows? But we're not going to use the old components for this race, as you might guess. This time we are going to confirm our grid penalties, and we are going to take the new components and we'll take them to the end of Abu Dhabi. So let's now go down to the grid.
Formula One returns to Sao Paulo once again, with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Brazilian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his third championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. Two very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junção into one of the two DRS zones will be the key to any overtaking prospects today. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of Turn 1, so how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are three main things to worry about there, Crofty: positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Perez, Fernando Alonso and Hamilton. Sainz, they've taken a grid penalty. Ocon, Leclerc and Antonio Giovinazzi. Russell, Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Mazepin. Tsunoda, they've taken a grid penalty. Latifi, Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll, Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Schwartzman and Skip.
So a couple of people taking grid penalties actually, so it's not just us. However, we are starting at the very back, and I made sure this time. Looks like we've got some rain towards the end of the race, so I'm thinking whether a one stop is actually still possible if the track is not wet enough to go onto Inters. So that's a thought that I've got in the back of my head. We can get away with a one stop actually. I've actually figured that out eventually. So, and it's actually like a pit stop's faster to do a one stop actually. So that is the plan for this race, soft to mediums, and hopefully with a bit of luck the mediums can get us to the end of the race if the track is damp enough and we are slow enough to do that as well. 5 red lines ahead of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and they are out, and we are racing in Sao Paulo. Really good start up against Mick Schumacher. Robert got actually a really good start. In fact, a better start than us. We're going to go up the inside of as many people, not Pierre Gasly though, as he's got the inside line covered. Of course, it's 3 wide between he, Latifi, and Sebastian Vettel, who's also down with us. The two Aston Martins are down with us actually. So pretty clean start for us. Can we make up any more positions? Probably a little bit late on Lance Stroll. However, we missed the apex, and that opens the door for Mick to have a look up the inside of us, and he gets that move done. However, we don't give up a fight that easily. We're going to see if we can get up the inside into turn 7. I think this next braking zone is. And no, we don't do that. However, Robert is up our inside, and we hold position for the time being. P21 for now. However, we might even think about a move on Mick. We do, and Stroll as well. However, I wasn't planning to do a move on Stroll, and it cost us a little bit more time. So, at the end of the first lap, we've only gained 1 spot. Not the ideal start for us, but however, there is still a long way to go. We missed the apex a little because I didn't want to rear end Mick. That's what I felt like that was going to happen, and that almost invited Robert to have a look up the inside of us. So we're holding stations for now, and we can potentially have a move on and make into turn number 1. However, I didn't realise until about this point that Robert was already behind me, or literally up my ass. We're going to make him go to the outside. DRS is now enabled, and we try to go as deep as we can, but we've overcorrected. Robert now does the switchback. We cut the corner, and at that point I knew I cut the corner, and I decided to let him through. So now we've conceded to our teammate, which is not too much of a catastrophe because we can just stay behind him and see what his pace was like, but he wasn't getting any closer to Michael. So we dove up the inside of him at turn 7, and that is where we are going to overtake him. No damage to Robert's front wing, thank goodness. So no contact made for now. Nice moment coming out to the hairpin, and we're going to let Robert go back through, or will he? No, we've got onto the curb and we got a little bit sideways before the penultimate braking zone. That actually cost us a little bit of time to Mick as he gets away from us a little bit. Robert managed to get DRS off of Mick the following lap, but we were actually a little bit closer to Robert than what we were, so we dive him up the inside at turn number 1. Job done, and now we can set our sights on both the Haases. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly we can get through these cars with our fresher engines. However, I'm not expecting points here. Up the inside of Nikita Mazepin at the second to last call. We have gone a little bit wide though, so we're going to let him go through, and we're going to snag some of his DRS. In fact, he actually didn't get DRS, so okay, so he wasn't quite close enough to his teammate, and we got a collision warning, so we might have tagged his rear just on the way through. So here's a quick replay of us going into turn number 1. We already had the move done, and Robert has a look up the inside of turn number 1, and he actually gets the move done, does he? Yes, he does. This is the move. It was actually quite close, nearly wheel-to-wheel contact. And in fact, if you listen closely, there was actually no contact made. So that was a beautiful move by my teammate. He follows us through. Let's hope he can continue to do that as we try and attempt almost the same thing on Mick Schumacher as we continue on to lap 7. We were actually spent a lap behind Mick because we weren't close enough on the previous lap. Now we're going on to lap 8. He goes to Fazio a little too late, and we get the move done well before the braking zone at turn 1, actually. So now that move's done, we've got Latifi and Stroll behind us. Stroll might be the maximum we can get. It depends what strategy other people are on. Mick has a look at us up into turn number 4, and we squeeze him, because I actually didn't think that he would go for that move, but that was the case. Lap 9 now. Oh, someone's gone. It's actually Antonio Giovinazzi. Oh, we've nearly had a Silverstone and not paying attention, but thankfully that didn't happen. So we keep our nerve a little while longer. This is a battle that I really want to keep an eye on for the last couple of races. Max Verstappen leading from Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris and Sergio Perez. That is your top 4 right at this very moment. Max holding stations through the first couple of corners, now going around turn 3. Lewis is going to have DRS going into turn number 4. He might even shape up a move for turn number 4 if he's close enough. He's literally there, but he chooses not to go for it too early on in the race to be doing risky moves, as we briefly watch Lando Norris, and then we eventually cut back to the action here on lap number 12. We are now having a look at Nicholas Latifi. We're going to go right around the outside and get the move done before the braking's over turn 1. Turn 1 is becoming a bit of a happy place for us in terms of overtakes. Turn 4 can be one if you actually get up the inside, because you can dish the guys behind. People at this point have pitted it on new tyres. Daniel Ricciardo came out of the pits and got past us pretty quickly. He's on another set of softs, so he's doing a 2-stop. We might be able to see him again if we've got the pace. And we've got who's that? Fernando? No, it's Esteban Ocon, who's on a set of soft compound tyres. So anyone who's on softs are guaranteed to do a 2-stop. Charles Leclerc in P11, he's on hard, so he'll easily take those to the end of the race. So now we could be getting close to points, maybe somewhat in the lower midfield. We get past Fernando Alonso, who is on hards, so he'll be taking those to the end of the race quite easily. And there is Carlos Sainz, who is also on hards. He's going to the end of the race. Quite a few go to the end of the race, and we dive on the inside of Carlos Sainz. And can Fernando follow us through? No, he can't, but he does get past Charles Leclerc and not Leclerc, Carlos Sainz. Actually, I was looking at the leaderboard. So lap 16 now, we're coming into the pit lane. I didn't want to fight the faster cars too much, because it would only cost us time ourselves. So we're going to come into the pits. We are going to put the medium compound tyres on. We're going to have the faster compound. However, it's not going to last too long, which will benefit those on the hards towards the end of the race. Very smoky in our pit box. Nice 2.8 second stop. Or I shouldn't say nice, a bit of a slow stop actually. Didn't really cost us too much time to short, because I reckon he would have been fractionally faster than us. So he's on the mediums. He might be able to take those to the end of the race. So me and Stroll got pitted at the same time. We took our softs quite deep, nearly halfway through the race. Robert, he's on a set of softs. Why did you go on a set of softs? You can easily do a 1-stop if you choose to go into hard, so he's going to have to do another stop in this race. We're now having a look up on the inside. No, we're going to go right around the outside of Kimi Raikkonen. And can we get the move done? And can we stay within the boundaries? Yes, we can, but he's still there on our left-hand side. We'll have the inside up here for turn number 6. And we are safely and cleanly through on Kimi Raikkonen. P16 for the Tuggy. I'm not too sure if we're going to get any more positions, or maybe on Pierre Gasly. If it's important we get past Gasly, because he's in that ridiculous Alpha Tauri. We give him a little tap. Hopefully that hadn't had too much damage to our wing, and that was our one and only opportunity to get past Pierre Gasly, and that was unsuccessful. Interesting battle here actually. I was actually going through the replay cameras, and we've picked up a battle between Fernando and the two Ferraris. On board now with Charles Leclerc, as Carlos Sainz goes for a move into turn number 4. Can he stay there? He's not quite up there. However, he's brilliant traction. He must be on the mediums or something, because he's got a brilliant run. Fernando tries to stay up there. Oh no, they're all on the hards, but Fernando, he must be on older tyres, but gee, he made the move stick. And now the Ferraris are going to be squabbling all over each other. I'm hoping they don't squabble too much, because they're still chasing Fernando Alonso. However, I didn't think Fernando we'll get away that much. We'll leave that battle for them to solve out. Is that a yellow flag behind us? Or whatever? Maybe. Who's going slowly there? Is that an Alfa Romeo of Kimi Räikkönen? Kimi Räikkönen is pulling off to the left-hand side, or right-hand side I should say, and he is out of the Brazilian Grand Prix. So there has to be some sort of failure now. There was no smoke. Maybe it's gearbox failure or something. The clouds are starting to come in now, which suggests that rain isn't too far away. And the following lap, there is poor old Kimi on the right-hand side of the track. So now we're up into P14 now, and I don't think the rain is too far away. However, we do have Yuki Tsunoda behind us. He may be on a two-stop, and he's on a fresher set than medium compound tyres. So as we go into lap 28, he gets up the inside pretty cleanly. And look at the halo, you can see the raindrops are starting to fall. I'm wondering whether we're going to go into intermediate tyres or not. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have one chance only possibly at Yuki Tsunoda, but I chose not to go for it because I didn't want to risk losing a good position like where we are right now. This is probably the best we're going to do unless two or three other cars have problems themselves. Tsunoda and Stroll going at it now. Tsunoda actually took a little bit longer than what he would have wanted to get past Stroll. I think he gets DRS. Yes, he does. Stroll doesn't. A little bit stiff actually. But Tsunoda might have been just far enough back from the detection zone, and that's why he's able to get past Strolly. So the fight now is between me and Stroll for 14th place, and this is probably the best we're going to do unless some other guys ahead of us have problems with us. So a few laps to go, and we're sort of losing touch with him a little bit.
It looks like we might have an issue. Hang in there, we're attempting to manage it.
Oh dear, that is not what I wanted to hear. We're 3 laps away. Don't tell me we're going to have a major failure, which I can ill afford with new components. Honestly.
We can confirm that it's an issue with our engine. The issue seems to be fixed, but we will keep monitoring it our end.
That radio communication at the end, the issue seems to be fixed, but we will keep monitoring it. That bugs me a little bit because it tells me whenever that's happened, the issue hasn't actually resolved itself. So if you look closely, Charles has already clipped away. So obviously the problem hasn't been fixed.
Okay, touch wood. Seems like the fault has resolved itself.
Well, there's the good news then. So the problem obviously didn't last long, but it may have cost us a chance to get past Stroll in the last 3 laps. So it looks like it could be P15 at best. However, we did actually get quite close to Stroll in the closing laps. However, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to get past. And the rain was actually pretty slow and pretty steady actually. So there was actually no switch onto intermediate tyres. As we head on to the final lap, this was our last chance to get past Stroll. We're in the DRS. DRS was still enabled at this point, but we're just too far back. There's nothing we can do to get past Stroll and get our way into P14. Max Verstappen wins the Brazilian Grand Prix, and I think he retakes the championship lead after a pretty disappointing second half of the season so far. So this is the closest we got to Stroll. Unfortunately, it's not enough for us to secure 14th place. So it's going to be from 22nd to P15. That's a pretty good effort with new components, I must say.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Honestly, I think there was nothing else I could have done. If we had super speed in our car today, maybe we could have been on for fringe points or close, but honestly...
We've witnessed some great battles around the historic curves of Interlagos today, and they've taken a fantastic win. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Very well done by Max, and he keeps his championship hunt alive, and I think he has regained the championship lead. I'm not so sure the margin, but we'll see in a second. But it is big points for Red Bull and in their fight with Mercedes. So it's a 1-2 for them, and confirming Max has overtaken the Mercs in the fight for the championship. So for us, it's 15th place, 15th and 19th respectively. Honestly, Robert probably could have done a better job, in all honesty, just doing a one stop. He might have been in front of Giovinazzi and Nick Latifi, but I don't think he probably could have gone any closer. So, Max has overtaken Lewis, I think it is. Should be focusing more on that. So he leads the championship by 7 points, and I think Red Bull have either overtaken or still lead the Constructors. We'll see that in just a second. Oh no, they're actually still behind. Gee, my memory's that bad. So Red Bull are still behind by 40 points. However, it's not over yet. If they stay under 44 points after Australia, there's still a chance to win this title. And I believe Red Bull can still pull off a miracle. If Mercedes can pull off near miracles in real life or in the game, then I believe Red Bull can do the impossible in the game. We'll find out. I really want to keep a close eye on that battle in the last couple of races. So, that has been the Brazilian Grand Prix. All in all, I reckon our pace was actually pretty good. The car was really coming to us, even though if we did make those mistakes, we were actually able to stay competitive and really make some overtakes happen, actually, even though some of them may not have gone our way. And in all honesty, I reckon we did do a bit of team play, and I think we showed that, especially with this move on Nikita Mazepin. So I think we can do a lot of team things if Robert is able to stay with us and have the pace and to get on the right strategy with me. So I'm looking to see what Robert can bring to the team for Season 2. If he can't do anything about it, then I'm not so sure whether keeping him long term is a right option for us. I probably could consider signing like a midfield team driver, like a Fernando or an Ocon or a Gasly or someone like that. But that's all to come for season 2. We've got 2 races to go. So in the next episode, we are finally going home to Australia, and hopefully we can have some fun at home and hopefully score points there. But until then, guys, I'll see you next time.